basis. Your participation is important.
Good morning and welcome to yet another edition of The Burning Issue. This is the Tuesday, and we are grateful that you could find time to tune in today and be a part of this particular program. Now, we're going to look at a number of national issues in today's discussions. But first, let me state that we are also live on our partner radio stations. This is Tuta FM in Mansa on 90.7 FM. And we are also live on Spice FM radio in Kawe, covering the rest of Central Province on 91.1. And live here in Lusaka on 89.9, here on 5 FM radio, and obviously covering Lusaka and the surrounding areas. We are also live on Wave FM radio in Mazabuka, covering the rest of Southern Province on 98.7. I'm your host, Zakaria Banda. Now, today, our guest is Madam Chishala Kateka, who is the president of the New Heritage Party. Madam, it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome back to 5 FM radio.
Thank you. I really enjoy being on 5 FM radio, and I'm honored to have you. So good morning to you and good morning to our listeners.
Great. And I must say that you're still looking as young as ever.
Thank you so much for that.
We are not worried about you becoming the next president because we are sure that we'll have a forever young president.
Amen and amen.
So just bring us up to speed, Madam President, on how the New Heritage Party is doing with regards mobilization, because obviously now it's critical. You must be positioning yourselves towards 2026 elections. How is that going?
Yeah, we are doing the best that we can under the circumstances. I say under the circumstances because you know how big this country is. And you will recall that in 2021, when we went to the last elections, we were present in all the provinces. Otherwise, you wouldn't be allowed to take part. So what we are doing is now growing our membership in all the provinces, because in 2021, we only had 8 months in which to campaign. Now we have a lot more time. So we are now reaching out to even further places than was the case before.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I'm sure, I hope that that is going on well. Right.
We have a lot of interest in that people are now saying, we've had 7 men presidents and we are tired. So because of that, many people are taking interest in the New Heritage Party. Yes.
You also, as an opposition leader, you've been very consistent with giving checks and balance to this government, and more so when it comes to the high cost of living. You've been there and you've been pushing this issue, but it doesn't seem to be responding to your desires.
Well, there are many things that we have been pushing as New Heritage Party, and of course, primary amongst all of those is this issue of the cost of living. Why? Because the cost of living at this time is what really impacts the Zambians. So when we gave advice to the party in government, as we say, we're ruling. When we give advice to them, we say, okay, all these things that you are doing, please address this one issue, because that's what will make a difference in the lives of Zambians. We have not seen that being addressed. Neither have we seen a roadmap to say, this is what we'll do in order to bring the cost of living down, which is very, very unfortunate. You see, from 1964 to date, Zambians' quality of life has been going down. And I think at this time, it's the worst that it has ever been. Why do I say so? In the earlier years, people were doing fairly well. Then in the MMD days, they did even better. And then after that, we began to see that in the last one, that's the PF one, we had money in the economy, right? You could actually get money in your hands. But in this particular dispensation, in this particular one, there's no money in the economy. They've sucked out all the money out of the economy, number one. Number two, the cost of everything is higher than it has been before. So uku ulibe ndalama, then uku vintu vadula. What are people supposed to do? People are desperate. Just so that you know, like people look at me and they say, oh, Uja ni president. So, gana kwata fe problem, financial problem, I'll go to her. Just this morning, before 9 o'clock, I had 3 calls asking for help, financial help. That's how bad things are. 3, before 9 o'clock. Umbi called me at 6:30. I said, what sort of emergency is this? No, Madam Shaja. Hey, things are really bad. People are asking for help every single day. I'm not saying that I give everybody help. No, I don't. But it's an indication of the desperation of people.
Yeah.
They are really desperate. They don't know where to go for help.
Yeah. How then, Madam President, can we turn around this cost of living issue?
Well, it's a very complicated thing. By complicated, I mean it's not a one-line answer. When you look at the economy, everything is interrelated. And one thing will impact another sector of the economy. Now, the first thing that you will have noticed is that the dollar has been, I actually haven't checked what the rate today is, but yesterday it was 28.8, meaning
23 actually.
23.8.
Yeah.
23.8, meaning 23.88, 23.89, meaning it's as good as 23.9. Very soon it will be midnight, 24 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this dollar is extremely, extremely important, the rate, because if and I've explained this before, I always use the example of this microphone. If this microphone cost $100 in 2007, that's when Mwanawasa was in government, and the rate was 3.4. To the Zambian, it would be 3.4 times 100. Okay? Now, we fast forward to 2023. This same microphone still costs $100, but the rate is 23. It means that this same microphone, which costs 23 times 100, 2,300. In 2023,
it was just 320 thereabouts. In 2007,
okay,
in your example, it would have been
320. Okay, so it costs 3,000. It was 3,004, not 3.4.
Right.
It was 3,000. Right. Okay, it was not rebased. So when I was using and rebased,
okay,
when I said 2,300, 3,400. Okay, let's
assume it's rebased.
Yeah, let's assume it's rebased. Then it's 340.
Yes.
But now in 2023, it's still rebased. It's $100. Then it's 23.8 times 100. Okay, so 23.8 times 100, you just add 2 zeros there, and it's 23,800. So to you who's earning in Kwacha, you will say, This thing was 340, 3,340. Now it's 23.
It's actually 2,380 now.
Yeah, now it's 20.
2,300.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, let me see that. It's 23.89 times 100. It's 2,389.
Right.
So to you who's earning kwacha, you are saying, nai nina, but it hasn't. It's still $100.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we are saying is that we earn money in kwacha, but because of the rate, chilemoneka monga ma prices ya kwela. But in actual fact, it's because we import.
Most goods,
yes, we import, almost everything. We are not producing, but we are importing. We are buying from outside. So, and we are using dollars. And because of that, it seems like the price has gone up. So it means that if we can control this dollar,
right,
this dollar rate,
right,
it will really go a long way as a first step. I'm not saying that's the only way, but as a first step, it's going to bring the cost of living down if we can control the dollar rate. But how do you control the dollar? There are a number of factors that are affecting this thing. Number one is the fact that we don't have enough dollars in the economy. We're not producing enough dollars while we are spending more dollars than we are producing. Okay, that's the first thing. Then we are not seeing the government helping the supply side, for us to start manufacturing and helping for us to start exporting, so that we earn dollars.
Right.
But for us as a New Heritage Party, we've been talking about something for since 2021. We have been saying the way we do our mining. When we do our mining, those mining houses, they sell their copper or their resources, whether it's copper, gold, or whatever. They sell it on the London Metal Exchange. And that money is kept out there. They get their money, say, in Europe, and they bank their money in Europe. Now, you have exported your copper. Then the money, instead of coming back to Zambia,
it stays out there.
It stays out there. That means that although we've made enough dollars, we are not getting these people to bring back the dollars
so that it
we have
can
more
be
dollars
in the economy, right?
Yes. That one move will make it will be a game changer. We've been talking about this every program that we have. We say, guys, let's bring back those dollars here. Compel these, because the way things stand, those companies only bring back the dollars to pay salaries, to pay little under-declared taxes, to pay their suppliers, little suppliers, their major suppliers are outside of the country, and then also to do some maintenance. You know what I mean? So Zambia is not benefiting from the mining sector to the extent that it can. So we are saying, no, bring back those dollars, bank them here. We are not saying we will take them. No, they still belong to the mining houses. When they want to buy those big Caterpillar Vima machine, Vija, they can pay from here. They can pay from the banks here. You see what I mean? What does that do? One, we get the dollars back in the economy. Number two, even our banks will grow. They'll be able to lend out more. We'll have more money here. There'll be more liquidity in the economy. Okay? So those are all related issues. The other thing that the government could do is get the agricultural sector right. We've been struggling since the UPND government took over. Our agricultural sector has been mismanaged. If we get that right, there's so much that we can do. You see, we've got countries around us. We used to look at ourselves as being landlocked and therefore at a disadvantage. But we've got all these countries around us are potential customers. We've got just Katanga province of DRC. is a country on its own. It's just a province, but its population is bigger than ours. You see what I mean? That's a market. And that's why there's so much smuggling there. It's a market. If we can, then we've got Malawi, we've got Tanzania, even Kenya. All these, they want our maize. We've got fantastic land, good rainfall. We've got everything going for us. So if we can get that right, we can actually, and that will also, by the way, speak into the cost of mealie meal, because you can't reduce the cost of mealie meal if the cost of inputs like even by the cost at which we buy maize from the farmers has gone up. You can't reduce the price of mealie meal. But if we can think these things through and produce such a bumper harvest that we have enough to feed Zambia, enough for Food Reserve Agency, and enough to export. The export portion should even be higher than what we are producing for our food reserve, because there are so many countries. And we create a market for our farmers. That way we can subsidize our consumption of mealie meal, because they pay much, much more. So we can afford to reduce the price for the Zambians. So there's a lot that can be done, which we are not doing. Where you see that the government seems to be running around, but not really clear about what they need to do. They need to take a few things and focus on those things and make them work. But cost of living is one of them.
Now, Madam President, I would like you to have a say on, or what is the position of the New Heritage Party with regards the pastoral letter that obviously the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, ZCCB, presented.
Yes.
This is a letter that obviously tackled almost everything.
Yes.
But let's start with the political environment. The fact that you are in opposition, you could probably also have a say. Do you agree with the fact that there is some sort of unbalanced political landscape in the nation?
Sure. What I would like to say is, you're asking me as to whether we agree as New Heritage Party. I think that in June of last year, we issued a statement about the shrinking political space, a statement that we issued about Zambia is sleepwalking into a police state. In August of last year, we issued another statement. In February of this year, we issued another statement to that effect, to say that there's shrinking political space. So when you say whether we agree with the bishops, we do agree, but we want to just say that we've been saying this for some time, and people didn't want to take us seriously. But then suddenly you saw the Law Association of Zambia, you saw the 12 civil society organizations, you saw the American ambassador, you saw the British ambassador, you saw a number of, you also saw the evangelical,
yes,
the evangelical fellowship, and very recently, I think it was the other church mother body, as well as the Catholic bishops, all coming up and saying exactly the same thing. Also, these are opposition, therefore, but when all these other ones come and say exactly the same thing, what is that telling us? It's telling us that there's a problem. It's not as though all these organizations and the ambassadors, we all sat down and say, hey, it didn't happen like that. And said, no, this is not right. What is going on is not right. And there is a shrinking space for opposition in the country. One of the things that we have done as New Heritage Party is we have warned and said, don't think that when the government, and this has been proved across the world, the government starts by um, um, focusing on maybe an opposition political party, the strongest opposition political party. Then they go for the next. When the oppositions, they manage to shut up the opposition, they'll go for the media, then they'll go for individuals. This has happened in this country before under the first regime. So it's not just about the opposition, it's also about individuals. And this has started happening because even media now are being attacked. You saw when Sishua was being interviewed on Hot FM, you saw that young man who, simply for taking a picture of people who were queuing up for Millie Meal, he was fired. What do you think that is? You also saw that man who was arrested in Kabwe simply for saying, oh, the cost of living, you people said it would, reduce, but look at it. Firstly, they insult him and then they arrest him simply for saying that. You've also seen that this issue of the DPP, don't think these things are unrelated. They're related. The issue of firing of the registrar, simply because she did the right thing. The court says they subpoena her to release that information. She releases it, they fire her. What was she supposed to do when the court tell you have to do this? What is she supposed to do? Do you see what I'm saying? And all of that points to this shrinking space. When I think it was the PF who applied for a rally, to hold a rally.
Right.
They were turned down. All right. And they said, no, we are still going to have that rally. And they were turned down on the basis that the police didn't have enough manpower.
Right.
But on the day when they said we are still going ahead, they surrounded that place with enough manpower. Where did that manpower come from? In Kitwe, the Socialist Party applied for a rally and they were denied. And they said, no, we are still going to go ahead and have it. And that day, suddenly, they had enough manpower to surround that. What is that telling you? When they decided to go to Kanyama and the compounds to do things, nobody stopped them. They went ahead and had it. You see what I mean? So unfortunately, it didn't work out for them because people there were so angry. So that all points to this shrinking space that we are talking about. By firing the registrar, for example, they are sending a very strong message to public service workers to say, you need to toe the party line. Okay, because that's what it's all about. You need to toe the party line, otherwise we'll fire you. So even if what you need to do is the right thing, I don't know. It sort of sends a warning to those in the public service. Yeah.
Now, the same pastoral letter, it also addresses you as political parties, right? And it says, political parties have a huge responsibility in the promotion of peace and democracy. However, we have noted that the political situation is being characterized by the continued politicking and trivializing of important national matters. There is need for a genuine and right way of doing politics, meaning that politicians ought to realize and appreciate that their priority should be service to the Zambian people, and the ruling party should lead and be seen to lead the way in practicing good politics. It seems that political parties are more concerned with eliminating or weakening political parties, or actually are being, I'll read that again. So it seems that political parties are more concerned with eliminating and weakening. Okay, obviously in this case, trying to obviously weaken the ruling party and of course eliminate the ruling party at that score. But the issue here that the pastoral letter brings out is that also, as you give your checks and balances, do it in a more acceptable way than politicking everything, you know what I mean, and trivializing even national matters.
Okay.
It's a good call.
Absolutely. Just a correction there. That is addressed to both the ruling party and the opposition.
Of course, yes.
So it's not just the opposition; it's the ruling party.
Right.
We have political. Let me start with the opposition because I'm one of them.
That's right.
Look, I think that pastoral letter was on point, and what they were giving is counsel to both sides,
right?
Which is a very wise thing to do, because yes, even on our side as opposition, sometimes you do something to earn mileage. Oh yeah, we are politicians, so if these people make a mistake, you will earn mileage.
You want to capitalize on that?
Of course, you're not going to just say, oh, balufianya, so no, you will capitalize on their mistakes and you bring it out. Will any good come out of it? You hope that some good will come out of it, because you see the failure of this government is affecting and impacting. Don't say if we are subjected to their mistakes. It doesn't mean that because they've made the mistakes, the rest of us stizankala na ramifications. Okay, so absolutely, it's very wise advice. But let me go to the ruling party, because you see, I can talk and I can trivialize something as an opposition. People would just say, abanavo. You see, but when the ruling party trivialize issues of national importance, then it becomes a big problem. It's a bigger problem when they trivialize than when the opposition trivialize. Why am I saying so? Let me give you an example. Maybe a month and a half ago, we had a joint press of 11 opposition political parties, and we brought up some very pertinent national issues. What was the response to that? We saw the Minister of Information go hold a press conference as well to attack some members of the opposition in person and name them. No, you watched so you did this. No, you are now trivializing national matters. We raised some serious national matters to which we expected a seriously objective response, and we didn't get it. Up to today, we have not received that response. Do you see what I'm saying? These are national matters that we brought out. We wrote an open letter to the president. The only acknowledgement we got was this Mwetwa, who now starts shouting at some of our members, some of the opposition members. No, but you, what? No, that's not the. In fact, 2 days ago, I wrote on my Facebook page and said, why are you attacking the persons of those that are providing checks and balances? Why should you, if I say, we need to bring the cost of living down, then you say, Chimona Chovich Yukuru. How is that going to help the situation? It doesn't help the situation. We have seen that when this young boy in Mufulira was shot, obviously everyone, not just the opposition, they raised issue and said, guys, what are you doing? Why should Zambia National Service have live ammunition in a compound and you start shooting and you kill this young boy who had absolutely nothing to do with anything, but you kill him? We saw the Copper Belt Province minister calling us hyenas and sorcerers. Hello? Why are you calling people names? Just address the issue. You see, when the ruling party, those in the ruling party, are not addressing the issues, it is of more concern than when the opposition are doing politics. You expect the opposition to do politics. I mean, that's what we are here for. Yes, as New Heritage Party, we try by all means to be objective, and we issue issue-based statements. We don't attack anyone in the ruling party. We just say, have you considered doing this? If you're Mwachita, we don't agree with this. Have you considered doing it this way? But it's not all the politicians that are going to be like that. Some of them will just go to town because you have made a mistake. Don't expect them to come and ukula milela. Do you see what I mean? No, so imwe, just do the right thing. Now, when you are criticized, there's no government in the world that is perfect, and UPND is certainly by no means perfect. But when you are criticized, don't attack the person who has criticized you. Dr. Habazoka, 2 days ago, he issued a very good statement and saying, instead of doing this, do this. Instead of doing this, do this. You know, giving advice, which you can either take or leave. No, what happens? We thought that the only people who attacked opposition are the cadres, you know, those people in the rank and file. No, Noah Nkoma, a professional person, begins to attack Dr. Habazoka. No, why do you know that? Is it? Answer the question. Simple, straightforward. You see? And that's what needs to happen. If the UPND in government can begin to address the issues that they are...
that stakeholders are raising.
Yes. Then we'll begin to see progress. As it is, they don't. I don't know what sort of arrogance that we see where they're not doing that. Yeah, they're just not doing that.
Let me digress a bit from the pastoral later and bring in an item that I thought I needed your comment on. And this is got to do with compensations that we've seen. I mean, the latest being the Minister of Transport.
Yes.
And this has also brought out quite a lot of talk as we speak. But what is your comment that he's been compensated 450,000 kwacha in a case where a gun was pointed to his head by a cop?
I'm glad you say that, the latest being, because we have seen at least 3 sets. This is the 3rd set of compensations that we have. The first one was when Chief Mukuni's wife and some people were awarded 500,000 kwacha each.
Yeah.
And then we saw the case where I think 3 or the people that were arrested with HH, when they were racing with the presidential motorcade, they were put in prison
in the treason charge.
Yes, they were put in prison for 4 months, and they were awarded 6.4 million kwacha each. Okay, and now we have seen that here is this man who is now a minister, and yes, a gun was pointed at him, and he has received nearly 400,000 kwacha as compensation. Now, when you offer yourself up for leadership, I'm commenting on the last case.
That's right.
I just think that these compensations are over the top. Number one, it's a way of looting the national treasury.
Why do you say so? First of all, let's look at it as this is an individual Zambian.
Yes, this is an individual Zambian. Now, when I offer myself up as Chishala Kateka for president, and I am put, maybe I become a minister,
right.
All right?
Right.
And why have I offered myself up? And I'm saying, okay, I'm offering myself up because I really want to liberate this nation from what we are going through. Then I go through, because believe me, the life of an opposition person, not just the leader, but any person, anything can happen to you anytime, okay? You can be thrown into cells, you can be beaten, or you can be slapped, a gun can be pointed at you. That is what we call the risks that you will face of doing what we are doing. If my parents were alive, ngatabansuminisha nokuchita what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? Because people worry about your well-being. So these are things that happen to you. So when you do what Batayali has done, taken this case to court, when he knows well that he's in a privileged position, that the ruling will go in his way because he's a minister. Do you see what I mean? How many people have had guns pointed out at them, the abapina out there, abapina, and who can't do what Batayali has done? What is he telling us? He's telling us that in order to liberate this country, he needs to be paid, because that was in the line of duty. You get the point? Yes. Now,
so in short, you are saying, as a leader,
just a minute.
These are some of the sacrifices that you make in life.
Yes, I want to bring out something very pertinent with regard to where we are as a country.
Right.
No, as an economy. Now, we have our creditors, the people that we owe money to as a nation.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And they are looking at us and how we are spending our money. So you take a 6.4 million, 6.4 for those 4 people, and you give it to them. So those creditors say, oh, they can afford to pay these guys. Okay. A few months later, down the line, Mwaisa lipila tayari, 400,000. Oh, okay. And they can see, guys, this is just one way of looting our already empty. If we are saying our treasury is empty, why are we paying all these amounts out? What are we doing? What message are we sending to the Zambians, to the common Zambians, and to even those creditors? What message are we sending? So anyone can jump up and claim that they had a gun pointed at them and they were traumatized. You know what I'm saying? Number 3, what precedents are we setting? What, so abang ngabafuma 0.6. Then Chishala Kateka comes in with her people. What's to stop us doing the same thing? So it will become a casela. You know what I mean? No, we've got to think about Zambia. I think that Watayali should become patriotic. I think he should even take that money and donate it to Zambia for us to respect him. Because as a patriotic Zambian, is what he's doing, is it right? If he's a patriot, is it right? He has chosen the money over patriotism. What kind of a patriot is that? Who does that? It's shocking, to say the least. I hope that this is the last time we are going to see UPND people looting the treasury legally.
Do you think the president can intervene in such issues?
If he wants to, he can. It's really up to him. I don't know what he thinks. I am not him, so I wouldn't even know.
But does it affect his regime?
Of course it does. It's reflecting very badly on him. If I were to give the president some advice, I would put a stop to this. It's not looking good at all. It's not looking good.
Let's move or let's get back to the issue of the letter, the pastoral letter. It also raised issues around Parliament.
Yes.
Are you concerned with what's going on in Parliament?
Very concerned. You see, there are 3 arms of government. There's the executive, there's the judiciary, and there's
the
legislature.
Yeah.
And these 3 are meant to... Why do we have 3? Because the 3 are meant to provide checks and balances upon each other, to avoid excesses of any one of them. Unfortunately, even the way we arrive at the representatives for those is not the best, but let's park that for now. So you find that when somebody appoints you to something, your allegiance is to the someone who has appointed you.
Yeah.
And we have seen that there've been these appointments in all these that are not looking good, and we have seen that the actions of those that have been appointed, not all of them, but some of them, has not been good for the country. Now, with Parliament, we have our members of Parliament who are representing the people, in each constituency. And we have seen a number of times that when they get up to speak, they are shut down. And also, we have seen where the speaker, now I'm not talking about the second speaker, the lady, I'm talking about the speaker and the man. They will even interpret what the ruling party members of Parliament are saying for them. No, what he means is this. No. Let them explain. Don't take sides. Do you understand? So I know some people have been saying, no, you're attacking her because she's a woman. What about the second speaker, the lady? She's a woman, but nobody attacks her. Do you see what I mean?
That's right.
Yes. So it's very concerning, because now it means that these people who represent their constituencies are not able to do so effectively. And that is of concern. Now, don't forget that is the institution, the August House, that comes up with laws for this country. And they need to be able to debate openly and fairly. And that hasn't been happening. So I'm not saying all the time, but you have seen the instances where we see a video and the speaker is at it. Yeah. What we've had speakers before, and these people were very well respected, such that even the president wouldn't go to them and say, it has to be this way or it has to be that way. They were so respected. But it would appear that our Parliament at the moment, especially the opposition, they've lost respect for the lady, for the speaker. And we saw that in the last time when they were, just to clarify, the last instance when they were suspended, she had guided on something. And when the speaker guides on something, you can't debate it again, because that's what their standing order says. And however, because of the manner cumulatively that she has been conducting herself, these people just rebelled, right there on the floor. And unfortunately, we had visitors. I don't know whether it was from Tanzania or Malawi.
Yeah.
They were observing, and they must have just thought, wow, but so it's very important for the lady to conduct herself in such a way that she'll have respect of both the opposition as well as the ruling party. She needs to be very, very neutral in what she's doing. Yeah.
Now, let me bring you to one issue before I open the phone lines. And this is the issue that you touched on around mining. Quite all right. But obviously yours was more on let's encourage these mining institutions to bank their money here, to keep their monies here. But the pastoral letter goes further and talks about how this country can, derive more income from mining, and it goes on to say the most assured way of deriving maximum benefits from from this vital industry is through effective tax and shareholding policies, such as those implemented in Botswana, Chile, and other countries rich in mineral resources. Now, they go on to urge the government to increase its stake in mining companies in relation to shareholding and actively promote local ownership.
Yes. Yeah. As New Heritage Party, we have been talking about the mining regime in this country, because we believe that we are not, and we have not been getting what is due to Zambia. And that's why Zambia, in spite of all the mineral resources that we have, we're still poor. As a country and as individuals, we should not be in that space. And as New Heritage Party, we have been talking about the model of mining that we do. Our model of mining, don't forget that our mines opened before 1924, before all of us were born. And it was extractive, meaning, the British South African company owned Zambia, Northern Rhodesia at the time, and they could take out whatever minerals without any thought to leaving any benefits here. So they would take it all out. And we have continued with that practice and model of mining, which has been very detrimental to our mining. Now, we needed to have done this before that, and we should have gotten a different way of mining. So when Botswana found the emeralds, the diamonds, they went into partnership with De Beers.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a company called De Botswana, which deals with the selling of those diamonds.
Right.
And when they sold, Botswana was getting 15%. And De Beers were getting the rest, 85%. Now, after some time, Botswana said, Imwe, why? These are diamonds. So they asked for 25%, and they got it. After some time, they said, so they said, De Beers, either you give us 50% or you can leave our country. Of course, they got their 50%, which is where they're at. I'm very sure within a few years, they'll go to 85% and eventually 100%. And that's what we should be doing. We should be getting a percentage. You see, those resources belong to Zambia. These people are simply coming to mine them out. We should simply be paying them something for extracting the wealth. Not at Mwabapa, which is what we do. That's why we lose out. We need to be a people that realize that these people have we have something that they need. And therefore, you give them 110%. It's a very wrong thing that we do. So that is the route that we need to go. In the emerald area, in the sugilite, in the gold, in everything. Even this money to Lelu Ishako IMF, we can easily, if we get our mining model right, we can easily get to the stage where Botswana has, and even much more. They have diamonds. We have a lot. We have emeralds, we have gold, sugilite, we have mukula tree, we have copper, we have cobalt. We just need to think out of the box. You don't go into government and you start to run things the way they have been run. You've got to look at things and say, how can we do things differently so that we improve the livelihoods of our people? That's what it's about. It's not a matter of saying, oh, Naineno Mbandi president, hallelujah, No, we must think for the people. We have to speak for the people, and we have to do things that will be beneficial to Zambians so that they begin to benefit from their God-given heritage. That's why we are called Heritage Party, by the way.
I like that. One more item. This very government was also urged to come out clearly in defense of the Christian identity as enshrined in the Constitution and defend the marriage between man and woman in accordance with the natural order. This comes after the Catholic bishops' concern that they have noticed with concern that the LGBTQ agenda is gaining ground with clandestine support from some organizations that are swiftly championing this cause. And they state that this does not sit well with the culture
Catholic
and the Catholic values, the
Sure.
Christian values.
Okay. I'm sure you've also noticed these activities that suddenly seem to have mushroomed, not just mushroomed, but grown and are becoming more prevalent. You saw those ladies and men who were marching, and they were being escorted by the police. You also saw that when there's that gentleman who's a doctor who was marching against the LGBT. He didn't even take 10 steps, and they arrested him. So it's things like that cause people to say, there is something wrong here. Much as we would like to say, we say one thing, but we do another thing.
Right.
Yes. So the Catholic bishops are genuinely concerned about this issue, and therefore it's up to the UPND in government to respond appropriately to them. In fact, not just to this issue, but to all the issues that were raised in that letter. But we saw that again they were attacked. No, you are biased. No, this looks like a PF branch. Somebody, the provincial chairman in Mongu attacked them as well, instead of addressing the issues. Yeah.
But what is your position as a party, Heritage Party, on issues of LGBTQ?
We've raised so many concerns, and we've continually asked the government to also to clarify, because we have seen that this trend is growing. Of course, they always say, no, but we've already given our position, but it's the fact that these things continue to happen. There was I think they had a meeting in Siavonga as well, which was funded, this LGBT issue. If it's illegal in Zambia, how would they have a meeting in Siavonga? Do you see what I mean? If something is illegal, it just won't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. You see, our concern with this LGBT thing is because they say, look, this is the way we are, blah, blah, blah. Why do they like to push it down our throats? Why do you see adulterers forming an association, and then they are funded that, we are the Adulterers Association of Zambia, or we are the Marriage Breakers of Zambia, so you have to accept us. Now, if we tulatoba so just accept us. No, it doesn't happen like that. Why do we have these people coming and... Because when you sin by yourself, isn't it?
Right.
You sin there and you go ahead and do it. Leave it at that. But then why do you come out, form an association, start marching down the road and saying, no, you have to accept us, whether you like it or not. We are the Murderers Association of Zambia. That doesn't happen. So why does it happen with these people?
My guest on today's Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue is Madam Chishala Kateka, who is the new Heritage Party president. And of course, we've discussed quite a number of issues. And at this point, I will allow you, our listeners, to interact with our guest on the number 0955-221515 for your calls. And remember, your messages are welcome on 0761912493. So that is for your SMSs and WhatsApp messages as well. The number again for your messages is 0761 912493. And for your phone calls again, it's 0955221515. You can have your headsets on, madam, as we take this particular call. Good morning and welcome to the program. Now, come on, Oswald.
President Mashuken Mami.
And Tamkwai Muribwanji Oswald.
Katibu Mami, Sarah Mami. Mami, nasafanda ndi para wenu wanani Mansa abasindiria for 400,000. But she government is to money. My social regularity inaenda kupata hospital. Kupata chipata rewa hospital. Ngamwa ku hospital takuru mti. Elo ichitire futi kana sana na mota itaku. So she ni mpesa katika kuna mota. Unaenda ngafu kuna kwa kikaja ku. Kutsara futi. Naishisha wakati amana alifurisha abantu ero impara mkombo ni furu barepera umuntu kwetembia barepera kutinga shisha cyaro kutinga nangobaranga timpia shisa para kwetembia ete chinalfi ashisha kuchire cyaro chi azaksenzani mushimda kibere
Zikoma ba Oswald. You too can come through on 0955221515. That's a number you are calling us on. This is the Tuesday edition of the Burning Issue. My guest is Madam Chishala Kateka, New Heritage Party President. Good morning.
Good morning, Zach. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing very fine. Thank you so much.
I usually confuse the voices. Is this Brother Chisha or Brother Alex?
No, this is Brother Chisha.
Great, I got you right. I got it right. Thanks for calling, sir, and please go ahead.
You're welcome. Madam President, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you so much. And greetings to the previous caller, Brother Oswald. For you, President. Frank Tayal has collected close to 500 plus million as a compensation. You opposition leaders, what are you doing about this compensation? Because it's like it has become now a custom for UPND members to get money in such a manner. Because it was recently where we saw a similar situation with the family of Chief Mukuni, and those people were arrested those days. Where are we going exactly as a nation? Because we have freedom fighters who fought for this country, for us to have independence. Why are they not compensated the way we have seen money going with these ministers who are suing the states and collecting money like what happened to Tayari? Are you just going to fold your arms by opposition to see the resources going when Zambians are suffering? What are you doing about it, you leaders of opposition? Because it's like it has become now a custom. Tomorrow we are going to see them just cadres suing the state, and they are getting money at a pace of a lightning. They will just take the case today, tomorrow they are compensated. What is really going on? Is it not recycling the state's money? Because I'm afraid if this is the situation we are going to have, by the time we are going to reach 2026, even the junior cadres, they are going to be compensated by UPND government. Where are we going exactly as a nation? Because we are looking at how Zambians are suffering. People are sleeping with the stomach, empty stomach, without anything to put on their table. Wow, ministers are receiving questionable compensation. What kind of compensation is that, Madam President? Where are we going exactly? Is this really the way we're supposed to handle democracy, or maybe the coffers of Zambia? Because who are going to pay those money? Is it not just Zambians whom they are getting the tax payers on a daily basis? Personally, I'm so disappointed, because we have seen people suffer. Even the time PF was coming into power, we had people who were brutalized by MND government by that time. How come they were not compensated? Only UPND sympathizers and the ministers are the ones who are getting money, and a lot of money for that matter. What is your take, Madam President? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Brother Chisha. I know that this is a matter that the Madam President spoke about. You may have tuned in a bit late, but definitely she will touch on it for your sake. Let me take another call. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
Wonderful. Thank you. You are talking to Brother Namanda in Kampumba.
Brother Namanda.
Yes. Madam Kateka, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Namanda. How are you?
Good morning, thanks. I'm very fine, my lovely sister.
Good.
What I want to appeal to you, my lovely sister, is to distance yourself from this defunct opposition, the Patriotic Front. If someone is calling you to come and join their confusion, it is a confusion. They are only created the confusion. They want you or the opposition to join them. At the end of the day, so if you want to rotten together with PF and be dead and buried, join them as they invite you in their confusion. Look what the way they are practicing politics.
Brother Namanda, I would probably be comfortable if you can interrogate the issues that we have discussed with the president, where you feel maybe have views, because the Patriotic Front will not be. I think you can interrogate them when we host them, but in this case, they are not here to defend themselves or counter-react to your statement. But I would love if we can interrogate the issues discussed today. I'll be grateful. If I'm not asking for too much, if I'm not asking for too much.
No, it's not too much, my brother. Excellent.
Great.
We want to venture on democracy.
Right.
Where there is the issue of shrinking democracy.
Right.
I think to me, when you look at it, my lovely sister, there is no democracy which is shrinking. When were you last summoned by the police? For no apparent reason. Up to any 0 out of 10. Why are these others being summoned every day? And now, even though Zaki is telling me not to mention, I will not mention anyone. They want to say, no, there is a shrinking of democracy. After insulting government, becoming mischievous, cantankerous behavior, then when you are arrested by the police, you say there is a shrinking democracy. Don't join that, madam. Don't be cheated. The police will never visit you, Madam Kateka. As long as you are a law-abiding citizen, you will never be visited by the law. And for your own information, the law has got no face. If you belong to the opposition, you want to break the law by inviting people to start rioting, by inciting people, and you think the law will spare you. It will not happen. You'll be visited, you'll be arrested. And when you are arrested, no, democracy is shrinking. That is not shrinking. It is you who is shrinking in terms of because you don't know how to use democracy. Democracy is not about insulting others. Democracy is not about misleading or maybe trying to Zambians to incite them to rise against the government. Democracy is not about issuing obscene materials. No. Democracy is about checks and balances. Look what the issue of the economy, which people are complaining today. What has become expensive today? I've been asking this question. What has become expensive? Which people would want to complain? During Patriotic Front, minimum we were buying it at 350. That was 2020, 2021. Bowman Rusambo was going around beating up people who were buying 2 bags in ShopRite. If they find you with 2 bags, you are beaten. What nigga pour you using your own money. Number 4, what was that? But today people are buying minimum at 190, 160. We have our own minimum. 160, Madam Kateka, Ubungo to national service. There's 2 sets that you push to Bunga. So I was asking a friend of Granga 300 in Vozifunila. He said, Unga Dugusa, 290, 230, and 190. Government, which is affordable. The government has given civil servants 15% increase. All the civil servants across the country. How much is that money? Civil servants meaning he doesn't mean well for this country. He doesn't appreciate. So, Madam Kateka, practice pure politics, proper checks and balances. You are going to become relevant to the society of this country. You are the only aspiring lady in this country who needs to be respected and supported by us and other women. But you find that your fellow women are not supporting you because they've seen other women who were in leadership, who had political parties, their behavior. Remember the Hatembo family. How was Mansa accused? It was because of out of a lady. So don't relate to such ladies. They are not role models to the society whatsoever. I want you to become the first lady, if not mistaken, to be a role model in terms of how you approach in terms of politics.
Thank you, Brother Namanda.
Cooking oil is how much?
Thank you, Brother
It was
Namanda.
110 during PF. Today it's 182.
Thank you very much, Brother
Otherwise,
Namanda.
that we are listening,
I know.
whatever
Thank
these
you.
opposition are doing is a sham.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you.
a lovely morning.
Thank you, Sam. Madam, let me give you one message from Facebook.
Okay.
This one, well, it may not necessarily be yours, but it's a comment that probably you would want to listen to. It's a rebut on one of our callers, Brother Chisha. So Cornelius Chawa says, "Morning, Mr. Zach. Before being a minister, there was Frank Tayali, and there is no problem in compensating him. Do Mr. Chisha know how traumatized Mr. Frank Tayali was at that time and how he is as at now? Madam Chishala, are you Kalava, Membe, and others going to accept to be led by Mr. Edgar Chagwadungu in 2026 as opposition alliance from Cornelius Chawa in Mtendere Ward 30 of Munali constituency? Again, it's you're coming together as opposition and issuing that statement that obviously has been seen as an alliance. Maybe you need to respond to that affirmatively,
Sure.
Madam. So maybe I give you an opportunity to respond to
Yeah,
the
there
calls.
are four issues there.
Great.
Thanks. So my brother Oswald and Bachisha were saying the same thing. They were
Right.
talking about the Frank Tayali issue.
Yes.
And I'll marry that to Cornelius's part
comment.
where he's rebutting to say there's no problem with it.
Yeah.
Now, this is the issue that as UPND cadres, praise singers, supporters, we need to be aware of. If many people tell you something, pay attention and listen. One of the weaknesses that we see, I think I was talking about, fortunately, he has not attacked Brother Chisha, but he's saying, no, but this guy went
Do you
through
realize
it.
the trauma
Yes.
he went through? Yeah.
There's if we were in England, and somebody a policeman points a gun at you and I take him to court, it's something that would be normal, that I receive compensation. It's normal.
Right.
We are in Zambia. We have a stressed economy. We have a treasury that is almost empty. And then you are paying these 500,000, 6.4 million kwachas. You are paying the 400,000. You have to ask yourself, where is the wisdom in what you are doing? Look, sometimes you are entitled to something, but for the sake of the bigger picture, you can let go. That's what we are saying. 400,000 is he now going to be less traumatized that, Bantu Nomba Bampela 400,000? Is he going to be less traumatized? What he needs is counseling. So let's take him to counseling rather than this 400,000 kwacha. You see, the 400,000 kwacha is not what is going to prevent him from being traumatized. He's still going to be traumatized, right? And all that Vachisha and Oswald are saying is that it's not looking good. We are setting a very bad precedence. This is not the first time that people have had guns pointed to them. Some of them have been shot. But these large amounts, payout amounts, is going to cost the UPND a lot. It's going to cost them that more than this money that they are getting. Believe me, you Zambians are not happy about what we are seeing. We are not happy. At the end of the day, President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND government, they need to decide, do we continue with this practice of paying our members off with large amounts of money? What do we gain from it? How is it going to impact our 2026 bid to stay in power? Zambians are struggling. The amounts of money people ask for, 200 kwacha, 300 kwacha, then they hear it, you've given someone 6.4 million. What do you think is going on in the minds of the Zambians? In Bemba, we say, amano yachfiarilwa. Okay, that's wisdom. You need to use wisdom when making some of these decisions. So it's really up to them. If you think it's fine, carry on. But be prepared to face the consequences. Okay.
Let me understand you on this issue based on the fact that, yes, he was traumatized, but does the money now take away the trauma? Is this the issue of getting to understand that when you enter politics, it's putting your life in danger?
You put your life in danger.
And you must
happen.
go for it without really seeking compensation at the end of the day. Is this the question of when did we stop being inspired by Nelson Mandela?
When you go into politics, we are going in there to say, I want to serve my nation. At least my understanding is that I want to make a difference for the better for Zambians. And I'm sure you remember the time that I stood out there in the cold talking about Mumanyumba Njala.
Yes, I remember
you. Yes.
When you went around with your placards.
Yes, anything could have happened. Someone would have come, you see what I'm saying? But I took a risk and I stood there for the sake of the Zambians. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
I wasn't expecting a payment. Let me get a payment. So when you do something as a politician, you are doing it for the sake of the country, as a patriot. So somebody has just correctly pointed out to Kwebati, we've had people before we got our independence who risked their lives, who they were traumatized.
The freedom fighters.
They were put in prison. They were not compensated like this. So Baba son temfuti I'm traumatized. Tuliku England. You know what I'm saying? If sungu balachita nombe. So
let's get to the other one. I know that you had to put those together. Yeah.
Brother Namanda.
Right.
Brother Namanda is, as you correctly said, the PF are not here to defend themselves. And also this issue of always pointing to the PF, PND, just do the right thing as a party. Then, PF, just do the right things as a party. Don't say, no, Imwe, you did this. In your time, there was this. It does not help anything. Let me talk a little bit about leadership. When you offer yourself to be in a position of leadership, you have taken into account the problems caused by other people, as well as the problems that you yourselves will encounter. And you are saying that I'm well able to deal with these. So when we come to you with these issues and say, look, guys, cost of living is high. No, it's not high. In the PF, it was like, no, you knew what it was like before. So why are you bringing the PF into every single argument. Just tell us what you are going to do. That's what Zambians were looking for, and that's why Zambians voted for you. A leader offers themselves to say, I'll come and sort out these problems. They knew exactly what we were going through. They knew about the high cost of living then. So why do you bother addressing everything because you are now setting the PF as a standard. In fact, it's the UPND who are selling the PF. They are very good at selling the PF. You see what I mean? So stop that. Just stop it and just tell us what you are going to do. When you talk about, I'm still talking to Ranamanda and saying that the cost of living is not high. So even him, I'm sure he knows that the cost of, who is not complaining? Don't make statements like that when you know that everybody's complaining about the cost of living. You see, I could come on this program and explain to you why we are in the situation that we are in. So the UPND, they inherited a large debt, okay? Now, we all know that, and we know why we voted the PF out. But from the moment they got power, certain things were in their power to do certain things. It was in their power to make certain decisions. I'm prepared to come back on this program and explain decision by decision that the UPND have made, which have landed us in this mess. If somebody else had gotten the power, somebody else had been voted in, they would have made different decisions, which would have landed us in a better space, most likely. But they made certain decisions which I can go through one by one. But here they did this.
Give us two critical ones.
The first thing that they did when they came into government is they said, we are not going to pay the suppliers to government because they believe that all those suppliers were thieves who were working with PF. So we are not going to pay until we do that an audit. What that meant from an economic perspective, you see, government, they are the biggest off-taker of services and goods. So if I sell this TV to government, I find money and I buy a TV and then I sell it to government. I'm expecting to get the money that I took from my pocket plus the profit margin. So I'm expecting this next month, okay? Then they say, no, we are not going to pay you. And there are hundreds of people, thousands of suppliers who they then don't pay. It means that the money that was flowing into the economy stops. So the jandalama that you were expecting at Nizabeula next month, it doesn't come. So because you don't get that money, you are broke. Simunga ende mukugula tomato kulia make jen. Simunga gule onion kulia make gile. Do you see what I'm saying? So when the inflation came down from 23% to 9.5%, it was because of that one move. And up to now have not been paid what was due to them. You get the point? So from an economic point of view, that was a wrong thing. What they should have done is maybe take a group of those suppliers, audit them, pay them. Go to the next, pay them. Not that no mpaka once abakasile tizabachita audit and we won't pay until then. That was number one. The other things they have been doing is more economic. You asked for two.
Yes.
I'll give you three. They have increased the statutory reserve ratio, which is meaning my banks, my commercial banks, Standard Chartered, Stanbic, FNB, ABSA, of the money that they have to bank a certain percentage with a central bank. So zijandalama zienda mukunkala chabe kuja.
Bank of Zambia.
Yes, Bank of Zambia. They increased the statutory reserve ratio in February, and then in this month, November, they increased by 3% and then they increased again. So from 11% in this month, from 11% we've moved to 17%, meaning they've taken even more money out of the economy. Zinkala Chabeku,
Bank of
Zambia. Now, you have to look at our small business, or even big businesses. They have to borrow from the banks, okay? But then the bank will say, no, we can't give you a loan at this time because Shanshan. It also results in interest rates going up because there's less money in the economy. So the cost of capital, yakwela. And as a result of that, businesses can't grow. The economy can't grow. The other thing they did is increase the monetary policy rate, that is interest rate. Again, the same effect, higher cost of capital, of doing business. So those things are affected because Yajama Bank, they'll pass on the cost of doing business to us, you and me. Okay? So these are some of the things that we have been talking about, but there are many other things that they have done. So when we at New Heritage Party analyze this situation where we are, we point to okay, there's also the issue of agriculture and FISIP. I mean, you know the disasters there. So there are many things that they could have done better. And that was within their power to do things better.
Let me get some more calls.
Sure.
Good morning.
Comrade Mansa Zakaria, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good.
Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
Yes, Dr. Mansa here. Calling you direct from Hatiambo family within Lusaka.
Dr. Mansa.
Yeah, Madam Chishala Mauka.
Now, Kabuino Murikawoto.
No, tulibayo moni. Nakuona ni mazomazo hapa na lavuko ya white.
Na?
Nakuona ni mazomazo na lavuko ya white.
Oho.
Nati baenza munyu Johnny hapa.
So Nshale before.
Na monele pali ya shishibe mwe.
So then don't make such a statement.
I'm making a statement because that's the time I saw you, which is good for me. Because you are driving a RAV4, which is good.
I've never had a RAV4 and I've never driven a RAV4.
Dr. Mansa, please just make your comment to what you will have to comment on what we have discussed. Thank you.
I'm very disappointed with you. I'm very, very much disappointed with you. Because of this freedom, you want to abuse freedom now. You want to abuse freedom. Why? Learn to appreciate this government. Learn to appreciate this government. You have a relative whereby bali muskuru na free education. You can say thank you to Barry Short Newton government. Under CDF, you're saying neighbor with me. We saw it the way we are working under CDF money. Thereby you are staying in my one. So please learn to appreciate in short. And sometimes you give a best solution to this government so that we help to build the government, to build the Zambian nation. Madam. Now, because of this freedom, you want to move the Rapamos, Mpanga Alliance, Yamini, and the Kulikonse. Niacha ni manje Alliance, Yamini Mpanga and Masoroke. Niacha. And Borogo Kumano Alliance, no, you are very bitter. I don't know why. But madam, cool, and bring a good solution to move this country. You are Zambian citizen, so bring a very varied issue. I can appreciate if you do so. In conclusion, that sometimes, Madam President, you jump put a dance point. Yeah, Nari Infaija. Munaona kufa kwa kaundaga. Kufa kwanza Mansama. Nari Infaija. Imurungu chate pacha. So Africa kupatwa ndalama uja muntu because nze muinfa. Nali kukana na masaji. The masaji. Muzi wa emwe. Alasi tungali Mzambia ya time. So papa muli mu Zambia tiyamikira. Madam, drive safe with your phone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know which car you drive, but I don't know when that became a RAV4. But let me give you another call.
Okay, sure.
Good morning.
Hello, mwashukeni mkwai.
Twabuka vewino kachivena mkwai.
Twabuka mama Kateka, mwabuka shani.
Awe nabuka fe bwino katuishivena.
Mwabuka bwino mama Nyirenda ndetu makufuvare sindi kulipanu mapamwe mayo.
Mama Nyirenda.
Abantu berani bwesha na panshu kweba tiawe wai mule ufayo kumfwana mwewa opposition chiteni chintu chilingire kuma Zambiani. Panto ababa neswero baresha mpawa mayo mwaleba mwana wa president babali bayoda. Baletu kweba chingana isa ine uvunga bukapa 50 kwacho. Fertilizer 250. Balila ndepintu fingi sana. Efeta balechita. Ayama compensation mayo. Kulina mayo lya bapunkero balefu maku community house kulia. Twa utoto bachibampera ni 10,000 ndiyo. Ali kwa ali shabana tatuishine ngali wido tatuishine ngali award breadwinner takwile pama politics ya ala information balelu mbresa kwa tsamasa maka nani natulufye omwana kukopa beotuko nomwe shtaula hapo tabale mulanda kwena chinama mayo bombele ni fweba le tula mule tulandira ko mayo Noti mare mitinyo kwa bati awe mwichiteti aso awe mulibita tamulibita mpule mwaba bito mwandu for banta kuredia
Mkwai.
That's why wale mwana kwa mulibita pandu mulala ndekishinga ba Chishala Kateka tulipanu mapamweno
Mkwai.
tuleni support efe bana mayo
Mkwai.
tuleni support mayo na mtenga malanda chawe ndefo kusha kwaso kuti twaita abantu baisa mimona eto tulefo ayo kwabuka mu bushemo tudumu Ibalanda ta freedom of speech nakale balelanda bena bali katana bali ama opposition yanga yaba bajoyini bayemwe mbika tushwa nani nitaba balekere tai baleko kwa tiba pokolo chalo ba pokolo chalo kubufi na pakufuma mayo tukawafunya kabufi lesale mipala mayo bombele ni kwa bana mayo balenda bashitata bombele naba kweto mwenza bayetino kwenda pamula basapa tubombele mayo tulipanu mapamobe lesa pala bika koneshi kushinga twatoka.
Thank you very much, Mama Nyirenda. Speaks a very good Bemba, by the way.
Yes.
This one says, Zach, good morning. 450,000 kwacha cannot be compared to if Tayali was killed. Mind you, this was the day 2 people were killed by police at the court. As for LGBTQ, the madam must be told that those people that marched got the permit to march against GBV, not to support LGBTQ. This Madam Kateka knows that being a politician, she wants to gain political mileage. As for the Catholics in Zambia, they should not think that they are the only church. And when they speak, it's not every church that has spoken. And they are shocking me, these people here in Zambia. They are against the LGBTQ, but their so-called holy one, Pope, is for LGBTQ. So which is which? This is Kakoma in Kamwala South. I'll give you one more message from Kaoma Ben, who says on our Facebook page, good morning, Madam President Kateka. My question is that what's wrong with the UPND government, and who are the advisors for UPND government? Because they choose to be arrogant and stubborn in everything. 2026, kuyabebere. So let me give you one more call. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Zach.
How are you today?
I'm okay.
Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
Vachembe tuamwe msaka.
Vachembe.
Ipoche kuna wachi mapola nyenda wali kaino kuli tunkula kwa kusasi. Mayo na Kateka mulishani.
And Fobino Vachembe mulishani.
Bueno. Anyway, tetumwibu kicheko la mu 2021 na alimuikwishe kwati na alikuchinsali. Cha mwene ko posta ili yonse ya vitu alivyo mpepi na kuvota na alikuchinsali mu June. takwali abali ta campaign so ina tontonkine tai kinomba cha puide pia mali kimwapikire mwalo saya kinungu malangi mnomba mupyuti mulya mulemo mutamwa kweta abantu mubike mu abantu muka cha campaign ga kinomba mutekava Zambia yon kai ayala mleke ne cha 2021 tamwa kwete ko liwonso ayimiye kutinsa lipetike kide mwempa mali nomba chambo kumpapisha mai mwamba kusanga na abantu abakwatya eko ji ili bisana mai kumeni mama yebeni pe palu wenu awoni mai kwende mai
na mibukisha
mwanje buchaka ima yemi yenye pe palu wenu kwanda abantu mambo kusanga na bonga mwamva language ba kwa tama wala muona wala kalia yenu mai mube kongo yumulumendo yumbi wachifanye ya kinani ila nani abako abafaisa ati uyuji sanga kuna atinani opposition nala ba ni mula wape Dr. Sulumbe mula Sulumbe daitumbiga mu muja abantu mayawe n'abantu mwambo kusanga nabo ewo mwali tagambe twafume kuto mwambo kusanga nabo nimula kusama mwala tulufya mayo imine ni pamwe mpanda wawe muyo imine nangu mya timayo tikweza mu bige pantan kituma nangu mite pakti mwa tibaba mu bige pantan abonso akwa be pantan so imine ni paru betimayo abo mumone bayiji kumwa banabo bakampuni na PF abasabo bakampuni na PF nombe mwe kipanyije njala lubala kanshire kwa matu walufya mukulanda kai pati mbaba kwa bamachi waye ngiyo tulufya nyanyi kuponza mila ndinshire kwa bambe mai
Bachembe na total. And I think from the first set of callers that we got, you were meant to explain whether this is an alliance.
Yes, no,
yeah. So maybe let's get into it.
So maybe let me answer that one.
Right.
Because it seems that once very concerned, what you will find is that by UPND, by opposition then they'll sort them out. So they will always say, no, takuli kubomba pamo, shani, that sort of thing. You need to understand when firstly ababa bachembe aba balela ndati tamwakwete presence kuno kuchinsali. We had people there. But then they will say what they want to say, because at the same time baleba to yo mwibomba na babambi mubefe mweka. Why? Ninshi balela ndilefi. Because they know that when the opposition work together, it will be more of a formidable force. Abantu Zambians are the ones who have been crying for the opposition to start working together, because they're saying, no, bombe pamo mutulu bule.
One thing I've noticed is that they will say work together, but not with the PF. So the opposition basically they are saying work together as opposition, but the PF.
No. Abalela that not with the PF are probably the UPND people, but the general public are just saying work together. They are not saying work together not with the PF. That's not true. So that's what we have been getting. So what we have decided as opposition is that there are like 20 active opposition political parties. So this one will talk about this same thing and another one and another. And we said, we are wasting resources, we are wasting effort, we are wasting what we should be doing. So if we get together and issue a common statement, it carries more weight. And then even the way we are all different political parties. So Bambi, they'll address it by, hey, they'll say something in a certain way and others will. But when we come together, we control what we issue, because we are saying, no, this is a serious national issue. So takuli language here, we are very focused on these critical national issues. Okay? So that does not mean we have formed an alliance. We have not formed an alliance. But at this time, we are fighting to represent the Zambians as a collective, because at the end of the day, that's what we are all trying to do, is to speak on behalf of Zambians. And at this time, that's what it is. To lay fire at our voice heard out there. And it carries more weight when a number of you come together and you do something together. Okay? So, maybe.
Yes.
He says, don't abuse your freedom. No, we are not abusing our freedom. We are merely exercising our freedom. Abusing means we are now doing things over. No, we are merely exercising freedom. We are doing what our constitution, what I'm doing here is my constitutional right. This is not an abuse of freedom. And this is when they say you are bitter, this is the language of the elections. Did I expect to win? No. So why should this is a word they have come up with to try and paint others. Maliba bitter. In fact, they are the ones who are bitter because they lost 5 times. Then he goes on free education, CDF. Here's where our worry is as New Heritage Party. Our worry is that the current government think that they are going to achieve an economic turnaround through this CDF. CDF is good, but it is not the answer to our economic problems. They are selling it as though we've arrived. No, CDF is not even well managed, number one. Number two, they increased CDF from 28.5 to 30 million, but up to now, Tabatalava beyond 10 million. They only give 6-point-something million. That's all that goes into the constituencies. So why are we jumping up and down as though we are really at 30? I don't even know why they bother to increase it when they don't give. In fact, what they are doing is they are creating enmity between the people in the constituency and the MP, because the people think, well, me pay 30 million. When in actual fact, the MP only got 6 million. You know what I'm saying? So the people on the ground don't trust the MP. The MP, you see what I mean? So let's just call it what it is.
Is the disbursement in phases? Is it phased?
It's supposed to be phased, but you should reach the 30, but they never reach the 30. They've only reached 6 million. Okay? So that's what we are talking about. Then he goes and says, bring valid solutions. Mainza, if you've ever listened to us, that's all we do. We say, we don't like what you've done here, consider doing it this way. Those are solutions. If there's a party that brings solutions, it's New Heritage Party. So don't make broad statements that, we are not in the habit of just criticizing for the sake of it. Even here, I have brought out some solutions. Okay? So pay attention and don't just, you are the ones, in fact, who attack for no unnecessarily you attack somebody. You don't even bring solutions, but we do. Okay. And we'll continue to speak for Zambians, because that's echo twaishira. Zambians. I'm very, very sure that Zambia can be much better than we are. Wakakoma talks about, the 450,000. I've already given my advice there that but it will be at a cost to you as UPND. On the LGBT, those people got a permit to fight gender-based violence, and I agree. He's very correct. However, if I go to the police and then I say, well, police, Tien Muntwale ku bank, I've got a lot of money to bank. So can I have an escort? Then they escort me to the bank. When I get there, I produce a gun and I start robbing the bank. Should the police continue to escort me, or should they arrest me once they see that I'm breaking the law? We must not be simple in the way we think. We must analyze issues here. So when the police saw that these people, you heard the words those girls were chanting, very, very vulgar. Are you telling me wakapokola taba onfuira tifintu fyachinja? Did they not see that what they got the permit for and what they were doing were two different things? Do you think that we are dull as Zambians? No. Let's think above that, okay? Think about Zambia first. Don't think about your party first. Then he says the Catholics are not the only church. I've just said all the three mother bodies have written statements to that same effect. Three mother bodies, which covers all the churches. It's not just the Catholic bishops. So, sorry, Vakakoma, you are down. Vaben is frustrated. He says, what's wrong with UPND? They are quite arrogant. Who are their advisors? Tamama advisors vakwatako State House. So, what do we expect from such advisors? I mean, I would have thought Chishala Kateka, our president. Then you take people who of experience, who can speak into you and you respect them. Not to kuya sanga utwaiche, and you surround yourself with utwaichata ema advisors. No, that's not acceptable. Again, this Vachembe is speaking into why are you working with those people, etc., etc. I just think that the UPND, and he's saying, if we, he's not my member.
He's basically saying, why can't you stand alone?
He's not our member.
And be an inspiration because the women candidates, presidential aspiring candidates that we've had in this country associated themselves with a particular party and they ended up.
I think what he needs to realize is that I'm still an inspiration. There are so many people, so many young people, so many young ladies who are looking up to us. And as New Heritage Party, we've got a Politburo and we make decisions. It's not a decision that I sit and I make. We think through things. We deeply think through things, what we are going to do, how we are going to do it, what we expect to achieve, and things like that. So his advice, thank you so much. We hear your advice, but I would rather listen to our Politburo, and because they have no vested interest, they are not on the other side. And, they who are giving advice because they want to be divisive. Yes. Because what they are trying to do is they try to stroke at you were different, so you were weaker, if you're weaker. You see what I'm saying? That's a very divisive approach. But then we see through them.
Madam Kateka, your concluding remarks.
So one of the things that I would want to probably advise our government is they need to realize that we are in a crisis situation economically. There are many things that are not going right economically. Cost of living is high. The dollar is just running away, like I said before. And a number of issues. And something that you didn't bring up, which I expected you to ask, is in relation to debt restructuring. It has hit a snag. Mwaivuksha, we used to say, don't rely just on the IMF. Come up with another plan, which up to now, Tabala Kwata Imbi plan. But now, either 1.3 billion, we still don't have it. And then the debt restructuring has hit a snag. I talked about the statutory reserve ratio. Now, Finina, it's at 17%. I talked about the MPC rate. There are so many issues that are not going right. The agricultural sector is not on point. So they might not see this as a crisis, but then ukuchula, wonse tule chula. As a result of this, my encouragement to the government is consider bringing people together for an economic endeavor and even co-opt people who might even be in the opposition so that we put our heads together to and help it to go along the right trajectory. Don't be too proud and think this is just about you. It's about all of us. Okay? So think about the Zambians first and don't think about yourselves. Na ikakana. Okay? Even for the UPND, na ikakana. So let them just humble themselves and call for an economic endeavor so that we can put our heads together.
Madam Kateka, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just love the fact that your name is Kateka and you're aspiring to lead this country. I don't know what that is, but probably in itself, it's prophesying in itself.
Absolutely. Kateka.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
And well, to you, our listeners, we thank you for having followed our conversation, and those that participated, we are grateful. Those that carried this program live on their platforms, and I mean Tuta FM in Mansa, thank you very much. Spice FM in Kawe live. We will be back with our Thursday edition of the Burning Issue this week. For now, it's take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.